Hi everyone, it's Chuck Esposito here with Jason McCormick at Red Rocks Race and Sportsbook for our weekly bookend segment. It was an exciting week in both college and pro football. Bounce back weekend for the books this week, where you had a lot of underdogs cover in pro football. Not so much was the case in college football, where the top 10 teams all got there pretty easily this week. Jason's going to touch on the college football games and some of the big games that are coming up this week as well.
Yeah, not covers essentially in the top 10, but obviously the big one, Alabama. Again, very important where you get your number on the Alabama game. They win 24-0. That line actually opened Alabama 26.5-point favorite. Went as far down as 21.5 in several places around town. So a big movement there, and depends on where you got your number. Clemson did what they were supposed to do against Boston College. Again, falls on that number 20. Game was around 18.5 to 21 anytime during the week. Notre Dame blows out Florida State. Michigan, big win over Rutgers. Georgia covers against Auburn. So all the teams at the top did what they were supposed to do. Making that argument kind of for those 3 and 4 spots into the playoff is going to be highly contested, and then that's why it screams to this week on who comes to play and what they do in those games. Probably the biggest game from a playoff standpoint this week is Notre Dame versus Syracuse. They play at Yankee Stadium, unique venue for a football game, but a big game on Notre Dame's schedule. Syracuse has played really well, beaten some of those other top teams, and Notre Dame's going to finish up with USC, who had a bad loss to Cal this week. So a very important game for Notre Dame if they want to remain in those top 4. Alabama's got the Citadel this week. A lot of teams in the SEC kind of have essentially a bye week here.
And what will that spread be on Alabama and the Citadel?
I think we're thinking it's going to be somewhere over 50, maybe even 60 points. But
without Tua, probably too.
Yeah, no reason for him to play in his injuries. Other big games though. Got flexed. Teams that we don't think about: Cincinnati and UCF.
It's an awesome game.
Central Florida's won 22 games in a row now. They're trying to make an argument that they should be a part of the playoff. They get the 9-1 Cincinnati. They've moved this game to 5 o'clock on ABC. So again, a chance for these teams in the little lower level conferences to highlight themselves, make an argument for themselves. It should be another great Saturday. Really looking forward to college football this Saturday, despite not having the SEC teams. Some good things in the Pac-12. A lot of teams still fighting for that bowl picture. Big Ten is going to be interesting. Northwestern, whether they're in to play or not in Big Ten, but Purdue, Wisconsin, again, some really good games.
Right, that was a big win for Northwestern and a really bad loss for Purdue. After the game, you saw Fitzgerald get his team together and he said, "Guess what? We won and Purdue lost." So, I mean, they got in. They're a slight favorite against Minnesota, but we'll see how they come this week, because Minnesota really needs a win to be bowl eligible, as you talked about.
West Virginia might be the other really big game this week. West Virginia plays at Oklahoma State. We talked about the Big 12. Underdogs in the Big 12, going on the road in the Big 12. Oklahoma State's been one of those teams that's been all over the place. Sometimes they win the big games. They lost a monster finish at Oklahoma, going for the 2-point conversion at the end of the game, trying to beat Oklahoma on the road.
And they missed an extra point in that game, though, and they made the decision to go for 2 at the end. So.
Now they come home, they get West Virginia a chance to knock a team out of the top 10. So that'll be an interesting game on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's exciting. You look at all those big teams who played so well this last week, and they're looking to pile on the points.
You know who else we forgot to mention? Saturday, with all due respect. We don't think about him in the top 10, but UNLV. We got Tony Sanchez and the guys.
Big win.
Go down to San Diego State, get a win down there, and that was a San Diego State team that was playing for a Mountain West championship. Looking forward to going up to Fresno this week and having a chance to take that championship home. And UNLV went down there, watched the whole game. They really dominated.
They were clearly looking past, though, UNLV. I think they felt they'd be able to just kind of walk through them the way the Rebels have played, especially defensively at late. But you're right. That was a big win for Tony Sanchez.
Program-defining win. I don't think they've won down there since 2000 or something like that. Rebels go to Hawaii this week. A tough road game, tough trip to always make, but again, hopefully that springboards the program to new good things moving forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it was an exciting pro week as well. As you can see, the dog's head is back on. The puppies were barking again this week. There was 3 really big bounce-back games for the books. I think having the Titans beat the Patriots outright, one of the highest ticket counts, maybe the highest ticket count to date, was on the Patriots. They knocked down all parlays, money lines, teasers, with them getting beat the way that they did. And anytime the Cleveland Browns win, it's always a good thing on our side of the counter. Browns were able to win that game outright, although the Falcons had a couple of opportunities where they were inside the 10 late in that game, couldn't punch it in. And then late last night as well, you had Dallas going to Philadelphia. A lot of action on Philadelphia. All the rollover, parlays, teasers, etc. were all going to the Eagles. Dallas goes in there with a convincing win. Those are three big games for our side of the counter. Chargers covered. There was also a big game for the bettors on the other side. They had a couple of good games too in the afternoon.
Yeah, obviously the public was loaded up. They had a great week the week previous, so a lot of money, as you said, on the favorites. Good to get those key dogs. Another big game in the morning was the Redskins, able to go down to Tampa,
all those injuries,
knock off Tampa. Again, Redskins, they just keep winning games.
Redskins, though, they're 6-3. They have the easiest remaining schedule out of any team in the NFL. So they've had all those injuries. We know the Eagles now are 4-5, which that was a really bad loss for them. When are they going to get over that Super Bowl hangover? A big win for the Cowboys. But you look at that Redskin team, even with those injuries, very quietly, people don't realize that they're 6-3 and are on top of that division.
Yeah, they've got a home game this week against the Texans, who come off their bye week. So it's
won 6 in a row.
It's a tough game, but it's a winnable game to secure themselves in that conference. But going back to this week, obviously the Chargers against the Raiders. Everybody's picking on the Raiders. Everybody's betting against the Raiders every week. So if we don't get a Raider cover, we're losing there.
Kind of
the
same
Packers
situation as the Browns. Right?
Packers against the Dolphins was another bad game in the afternoon. The public really nailed the afternoon games. They had the Seahawks against the Rams. They were 10-point favorites. Right. So the afternoon was really good for them. And this week, again, we get to some absolutely incredible games. A game that we've been looking forward to for almost a month. The Monday night game with the Rams and the Chiefs. Highest total that we posted, at least that I can remember, in the last dozen years. A 63.5 is the total on the game down in Mexico City. But I know you wanted to touch on a couple of the other games before.
Yeah, that's a great game, though. I mean, a lot of people think that could be what's going to happen that first Sunday in February is these two teams meet. We've had that AFC-NFC prop up based on these two teams for a while now. It was a field goal. I think you look at this matchup now, and both teams come in with one loss. The Rams have been a little exposed the last 3 weeks, though. They struggled in that game against Green Bay. They could have gotten beaten. They got beat by the Saints. They gave up a lot of points in that game. Saints were way up in that game before the Rams came back. And actually, Seattle had a chance to beat them yesterday as well. They're a small favorite. It's under a field goal right now. The game's in Mexico City at that high altitude. Defenses will be gassed by the time the second half rolls around. So you could see that total easily achieved.
I think a key injury on the Rams side of the ball is no Cooper Kupp.
No Cooper Kupp.
So, the Chiefs are going to come in healthy. Rams, it's a big loss.
With all the weapons the Rams have, Cooper Kupp actually led that team in receiving yards. He's out of the slot. He was, I think, Jared Goff's kind of safety valve underneath, so that is a big loss for them. There's some big games this weekend, though. Really quick, though, on the Chargers, people don't realize going back to last year, through Week 11, the team with the best record in pro football is the San Diego Chargers at 13-3. They're not talked about right now with the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Patriots in the AFC because they play in the AFC West, but they're playing really, really well. This week, they've got the Broncos. They're a touchdown favorite against the Broncos at home. They've got a primetime game coming up in a few weeks against the Kansas City Chiefs in KC, which will be a big game as well. I think the marquee games this weekend, though, you talk about the Saints and the Eagles. Eagles need to get it turned around really quickly, but I think the Sunday night game where the Bears now are 6-3. Mitchell Trubisky actually got his first win against an NFC North team when they beat the Lions yesterday in Chicago. It's the Sunday night football game. This is a big battle. The Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. Now, it's a great game for our side. I think we'll generate a tremendous amount of handle. It's great for the viewing public, great for the league, but it's not great for the Bears because the Bears now are flexed to Sunday night football. They have to travel and play the early game in Detroit on Thanksgiving, but a big game on Sunday Night Football between these two teams.
Yeah, it's tough for them not to look ahead to Thanksgiving Day, but I think the Vikings coming into town, they'll be ready to go, and Trubisky coming off the big win over the Lions. Sunday night's going to be great. I'm looking to Thursday night, though. I think that we've got possibly Thursday night Packers at Seahawks. The loser of that game, they're not going to have a chance for the playoffs. I mean, obviously anything can happen the way things open up, but the loser of that game is probably going to knock themselves out of the playoff hunt. Seattle's a 2.5-point favorite. They've been playing really, really competitive of late.
Two straight losses, but right, they have been.
Packers have been all over the place. They were forced to go to the Rams, to New England, got a home game against Miami where they looked good. Now this is the big test in Seattle. I think that the experts were saying, if they could go 2-2 in these 4 games, the Packers would have been happy with it. But this becomes a big road test on Thursday night.
I don't think if the Packers lose this game, they're out. Just because whoever wins that Bear game is only going to have 7 wins at that point. So I still think there's room. but it's a critical game for both those two teams. But it's hard to think about the Packers being in third place halfway through the season now in the NFC North, trailing both Chicago and Minnesota.
And in the last 2 Thursday nights, we saw Pittsburgh destroy Carolina in what should have been a good competitive game. And obviously it was the Raiders and Niners the week before, where we saw Mullins go crazy for the Niners. But again, 2 home teams, big advantage, 2 blowouts on Thursday night. So maybe Seattle does have the advantage. Short week, and Green Bay has to travel all the way out.
Always a tough place to play. It seems when those two teams play, though, always something kind of goofy happens at the end of the game. So we'll see. But it's not just about football. Great college football and pro football schedule. You've got hockey going on, college basketball right now, pro basketball, and we love when all the guests come out and have fun and enjoy everything we have to offer. But if they can't get here, there's STN Mobile, and they want to touch.
Yeah, and obviously with Thanksgiving coming up, not going to be able to maybe get a rundown of the book. Get yourself signed up. Get the STN mobile app. Be able to play race and sports from the seat of your couch. All you got to do is come in one time, sign up. You'll be able to fund through the Play Plus card or through Pay Near Me. There's a way to get your money in and out of the account without actually coming back down to the book. We've got a $50 bonus going on right now just for signing up. And the world is a perfect place to sign up for STN, and you'll be fun and excited that you did.
As Jason mentioned, again, with so many different start times with college hoops and early season tournaments and different start times and so much else going on in racing sports, everyone gets kind of busy around the holidays and are running around. STN Mobile really gives you that convenience of having the sports book at the palm of your hand. So we look forward to seeing everybody out this weekend. Thanks for tuning in again to our weekly bookend segment. Good luck this week, and we'll see you guys next weekend. Thank you.